Hi, everybody, and welcome to the KubeStellar community meeting for today, June 27th, 2024. Today, we're going to be talking about a few things having to do with our latest KubeCon CFPs, as well as some performance enhancements, some work that the IFOS team is working on, learning about GitHub, installing Helm, etc. So we'll get started. If you're just joining us and you would not like to be recorded, you can drop the call entirely. You can stay on mute. You can not show your picture, or you can do the opposite of everything I just said and be completely open. This meeting will be recorded and posted on YouTube on our channel at kubestellar.io/TV. You can also find us on YouTube at KubeStellar. And if you would like to make edits to this agenda or any other documents in our purview here at KubeStellar, go to kubestellar.io/join us. If you're on the call now, if you wouldn't mind, open up this agenda by going to kubestellar.io/agenda and add your name to the attendees list, please. Thank you. All right, I'll go ahead and get started with the contributor code of conduct. We are proud members of the CNCF Sandbox project, and as such, we abide by a contributor code of conduct. As contributors and maintainers in the CNCF community and in the interest of fostering an open and welcoming community, we pledge to respect all people who contribute through reporting issues, posting feature requests, updating documentation, submitting pull requests or patches, and other activities. We are committed to making participation in the CNCF community a harassment-free experience for everyone, regardless of level of experience, gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, disability, personal appearance, body size, race, ethnicity, age, religion, or nationality. Basically, all that means is please be nice to one another. I'm just going to go ahead and change something on my settings here so that the meeting does not have all the entry and exit tones. Okay, so I just removed that. Okay. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for joining. All right. So yeah, go ahead and please enter your name on the attendees list if you can. We'll go through some items here. Recently, there's been some changes to our website posting, our documentation site. Documentation site is now hosting the quote unreleased development branch or version of documentation, which is to be used for development purposes. Opening issues and PRs against documentation. And then release version of documentation is to be used for all user client facing interaction, such as installation and feature, that's such as installation and reviewing officially supported materials/artifacts. Okay, so that means if you're a developer and you're looking to help us out here at KubeStellar, we appreciate that help. You should be using the unreleased-development version of documentation. So you can find that on your handy-dandy kubestellar.io by going to the drop-down at the top and clicking on unreleased development. And from this point forward, you can then do editing of the documentation or viewing the page information, such as what I'm doing here. See, I'm looking at the source for that page, and I can also edit it from here. One of the things that you'll see is it'll pop up in main, and so that's where the unreleased documentation, unreleased development version of the doc is coming from. So please be aware that that's where that comes from. And there you can make your changes, commit those changes, and open a PR directly from within that. So are there any questions about what I just mentioned? Okay. All right, so then let's move on. So some updates on Helm. We've had a couple of folks in the IFOS, everyone in the IFOS program, all 7 participants are trying out and installing the Helm chart for KubeStellar. And they've all been working on doing things like updating prereqs, updating documentation, getting rid of spelling mistakes, grammatical errors, order of operation issues. There's been a whole host of issues that have been open to date. That's all good. So this looks like it's progressing and maturing nicely. So we're thankful for having the IFOS program participants on and helping us out and working out the kinks. This will be great. I think it'll be a real major development, and good enhancements are coming from that team to help our regular clients have a flawless experience with KubeStellar, and that's very important first impression. Okay, any questions or comments on Helm at this point? Okay, good. All right, in the area of performance testing, I know Braulio has been heading this up. He wasn't able to join us today, but he's got a bunch of information here located in this document on what he's doing to provide performance information and data on KubeStellar and its associated controllers and interactions. So there's 8 performance metrics that are now available to collect information on the KubeStellar controllers and the 8 K8s Kubernetes API server endpoints as well. So that's all at the pprof endpoint. So experiments with Prometheus have been done, executed to collect performance metrics, and Pyroscope to collect profiling metrics. There's a scalability report for OCM with 2,000 clusters. As you know, OCM is our underlying last mile transport mechanism. It's one of them. And so you can go and read that report at this Google Drive location. There's some work going on about exploring how to use API priority and fairness to tune the KubeStellar API servers. And so we'll see how that fares and what the results that yields. And there are some metrics missing, but those are being covered. Those are alluded to in an issue and will eventually be covered in associated follow-on PRs. All right. Any questions on performance testing? All right. Okay, there's been continued work with summarization, and so you can read all about that in the documentation that's been provided for the design. And there's also a PR that's whittling its way through our GitHub. So if you're interested in taking a look at that or contributing to it, please go ahead and take a look at the PRs, and you'll see it's called Combined Status. No updates this week on KFP reaction to the KFP integration. Hasn't joined us. And interns for open source, the program SSH and GPG for cloning of Git content have been set up by, I think, at least 50%, if not more, of the participants. And issues and PRs are being created, and installation for Helm is the current focus. And we have members from Georgia Tech, Valencia University, Valencia College, and BITS out of India. And there's a syllabus for the code and the community development. If you'd like to take a look at that, that's located there on at the end of that paragraph. Does anybody from the IFOS program want to tell us a little bit about your experience to date and things that you're running into or things that you'd like help from the community on?
I can go. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Jonathan, go ahead.
Sorry, it's a little bit loud ambiance in here. Let me know if there's a problem with that. Anyways, so far it was pretty straightforward in actually getting to like install like certain distributions of Kubernetes, which was nice. As far as the KubeStellar Helm installation goes, like for the core chart, for the I'd say that some parts of the instructions, I mean, it's not super, I guess, straightforward for me personally. Like for example, when they ask for like the most recent KubeStellar version, I don't exactly get the syntax, and like I can't find any like references to like the releases or like which syntax I should use for those releases. I don't know, someone who hasn't had a lot of experience in this. I think like being able to know what the syntax for like the KubeStellar version is and then being able to like input it whenever we're running it in the shell would be pretty useful. But that's about the point I'm at right now.
Yeah, Jonathan, I don't I don't know if you can see it, but I have it up in front of me. Excuse me. Bad idea to eat during the call. Okay, so I have the document up in front of me. Do you see is there anything on there specifically you can point to?
I think hold up. I was looking at it last night, but I mean if I'm assuming we just use the 0.23.0 syntax for like every word that says KubeStellar version, then I think that resolves everything. Sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah, so the reason for exporting this variable, and maybe it's not clear from the directions, that's something you can add as a PR or as an issue, is to clear up where this comes from or what it's used for. This is what's used. It transcends or is littered throughout the remainder of the instructions. So it's primarily used in the running this shell script that creates the kind cluster and the ingress that's necessary to support kubeflex and kubestellar. And it's also, I believe, used in the core chart. Yeah. And so these two instructions that are given are leveraging these two variables. Or actually, it's only leveraging the first variable. Second variable will be coming up later when you set up remotes. Yeah, Kevin.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that I have been leaning on our development team to expand the explanations in the documentation. It is an uphill battle because they want to write code rather than documents. But now that
Well, they want to write code as documents.
yes, yes, and I'm having an ongoing battle over a quick start document because they keep taking out the stuff that new users need.
Yep.
Because they're so familiar with the system. So I'll keep pushing on that. I also wanted to comment in general, the documentation, we do have a general issue open for talking about the design in the GitHub repo. And I encourage you to not just spelling errors and stuff, but actual structural changes. There is an issue on the structure. We might want to actually shift that to a discussion rather than an issue in the repo. But please take advantage of those. If you have suggestions for better organization that need conversation before they become a pull request, please take advantage of that issue.
Where's the issue? What number?
I will go look it up again.
Does it say documentation in the title?
It says website. It has website in the title because it's specifically about the website organization.
How about this one?
Nope.
No.
Nope. That was there's that one. Yeah. Yeah. 2163.
Okay. So yes, please join along with Kevin and others in that issue/discussion. Thank you, Kevin. Okay. Any other members of the IFOS program that want to speak up or talk about anything that's on their mind?
Yeah, just like to support what Jonathan said, there's like a lot of documentation, like different variations of like I wouldn't say they're almost the same thing, but it's like really confusing to see like what is like one documentation is doing compared to another one. Where like there's multiple like Helm chart, how to use Helm chart to install KubeStellar, then I'm just like, wait, but isn't this also doing the same thing? But yeah, I just think like it's just very confusing when you have so much like documentation everywhere, and just like it's really confusing for me to search up for stuff when I need it. And like sometimes the syntax doesn't really make sense. Like Andy, can you go to the page with the where you showed where Jonathan was, yeah, that one, where like It says to create a kind cluster, and for convenience, a new local kind cluster that satisfies the requirement for a KubeStellar setup. Like a normal user like me, I would know how to use kind commands, but the command line right there, where you tell me to copy and paste it into terminal, I don't know what it's doing. Like,
Yeah.
like
Good
I
point.
I know Bash, but I don't know what is raw GitHub user content KubeStellar. I don't know where's that coming from.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's a really a bad
Like from
assumption. So
yeah, from my
yeah.
perspective, I don't know what that is doing because as a user, I'm using kind, like just the kind command.
Right.
So for convenience purposes, we're using bash. Then what, for example, if I want to go back in and say I want to replicate it using kind instead of using bash, or I want to replicate it without using the documentation, but there's only one way to do it because it's for convenience purposes.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. What about like something that linked to like see this file's content, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what? You could be installing a virus for all you know.
hmm
You're right. That's a really good point.
But yeah, that's all I had to like add to it, to what Jonathan said.
Very good point. So have you collected, Ricky, all the locations where you found these Helm instructions or instructions to install? Because we're looking for those, and it'd be
No,
good if you had a manifest.
I have not like written them down, but I'm just like there's when I search at Helm, there's like multiple like different documentations. That's like I don't know, just
Oh yeah, look at that. This
like
is
it's really hard to like distinguish. That's all.
yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, this is very good. Okay, I didn't even think to use the search feature, but yeah, it's intended to help people, but I could see how it would hurt. Okay, for any of you out there that are in the IFOS program that are looking for issues to open, because you're looking to satisfy your requirements here for the summer, using the search feature to find Helm matching in 13 documents, I think it talks to what some people may do here, if not here, then in Google to search and would crawl our site to find this, and it would be very confusing. So if you'd like to open an issue to say there's too many instances of the term Helm on our site, and it's witnessed by finding 13 documents in search, I'd encourage you to open that issue. So if there are those of you out there that are looking for issues to open, there's one. And the second, as Ricky just mentioned, another issue to open would be, hey, why don't you explain or leave a link right here as to the direct content for this particular script? That's easy to put in there. Yeah. So I encourage you, there's two issues there, low hanging fruit, try it out. Anybody out there that has any questions on how they would open an issue for that or?
Yeah, I can do that. I just have a question about the search bar.
Mhm.
So ideally, how would you expect the behavior to be just the most relevant articles coming up, or
Yeah, that's a good
because
question. I don't even know how we would determine that, right? I mean, this,
because there are some places where some of the steps, like in recreating examples, are repetitive from the core setup.
Mhm.
So if they do a search, then both of them would come up regardless, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, look at, yeah, so yeah, you have to use obviously I mean, it would seem you'd have to use some common sense here. I think things like listing of variables here, this is an internal page that does not have to exist. Um,
Uh,
so that would be one that I'd suggest there be removed from the menu. So that's one item that's an easy one right there.
uh-huh.
Um, so that really is not helpful for anybody searching. The second one is I see it showing up here in the prerequisites.
Mhm.
To install the Helm chart, the only requirement is Helm. Maybe instead of, you know, if is it the examples set up using core Helm chart or core Helm chart? Which one is it? Which one am I supposed to use? I think that's really I mean, those are the types of things, Ash. I mean, you could probably open probably a half dozen issues on just those, just going through that
Okay.
Helm and seeing, what's out there and what should be removed. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it does. Should I try another keyword other than Helm to see how
Yeah,
that behaves?
whatever you, I mean, I'm sure install comes up with 17, you know,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
probably another good one too, but yeah, Kevin.
Yeah, I want to encourage you to look at the unreleased documentation, compare it to the release 0.23, because there are massive changes in the information organization, including trying to eliminate some of this duplication.
Yeah,
So
it's actually worse. 17 matching documents instead of 13 in the unreleased.
um, a few of these are artifacts, document or files that will go away. When I did the reorganization, I didn't delete files because I didn't want to risk losing fragments of things we still needed. But
Yeah, I
this is
mean, look,
about
this is an easy one, right? I mean, this
yeah,
page shouldn't. This is for internal use. This shouldn't be here.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. I don't even remember activating that file.
No, I might have done it when we were putting it together for debug
Yeah.
purposes. But yeah, there's like, yeah.
So the only thing I will offer is it's worth comparing the new versus the old because
Well,
maybe
this is the new. This is the
right. This is
unreleased.
the new. Yeah.
This is what they
So
should be working with. So, like, here you go again, right? Unreleased development in the user guide under documentation, setting up KubeStellar via
okay.
Helm chart. Again,
All
another
right. So
page.
rewind. The miscellaneous documentation is the leftover files. If you click on miscellaneous, the what's in here, it explains that these are artifacts as opposed to complete documentation. Up in the tree where it says quick start is supposed to be the first place you'd go,
Well,
the most obvious place.
all right. Well, yeah. I mean, so again, Ash, it's helpful to start, even though they're in this miscellaneous documentation. It's clear to me that this should be removed. This
Yeah,
should
please.
not be here.
Yeah, please do call them out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But be aware that that's the miscellaneous documentation section is stuff that either has to be expanded or is being eliminated as we clean it up.
Yeah, this scenario 3, multi-cluster workload deployment with Helm. This should be removed. Yeah. So, yeah, Ash, there's one set of documentation that should
Uh-huh.
survive, I think,
Okay.
and it's under. Yeah, I'm getting lost now too.
It
Okay,
was much tidier before the programmers rewrote my organization.
I got you. Yeah, I got you. All right. So where's the examples now? Where is the Helm? Now I'm lost.
Okay, I am too. Let me.
Oh man, this is, yeah. Okay, well, I'm not going to spend any more time on it.
Yep,
Ash,
yep.
your point's well taken. Jonathan, go ahead.
All right. Couple of things. Just outside of the actual docs.kubestellar.io link aside, when you go look for KubeStellar installation documentations on like anything, like Google mainly, usually the GitHub is the first thing you see. And I think some of the documentation on GitHub are like one of the first things you see, like for the GitHub.
Yeah.
If you search up like Helm installation, like Helm core chart installation KubeStellar, um, I think like for example, if I searched up like KubeStellar installation Helm, it'll give me a link to the repo for Helm charts. And I don't know if that's a duplicate of the information that we currently have, but if you
Yeah.
scroll down to the bottom of this page,
Yeah.
scroll, you see the KubeStellar Helm chart, and
Yeah.
it's like you can't really access. There's nothing on that page, and I don't know if that's like intentional or like an outdated thing.
Yeah. This
Um,
this is this is a page. So this actual Helm repository has to be changed to remove everything except for the README.
Yeah, but the I'm trying to say, I guess, is like I guess if you're going into it blind, because I've had to have someone link me the KubeStellar.io link, and because I wouldn't know to like refer directly to that because the GitHub
Yeah.
page was like the majority of the things I was interacting with
Mhm.
up until this point. And just one more thing, like let's say if we were to look over the documentation for like the Helm installation on like the docs.kubesteller.io page, um, and let's say we were to find some like semantic errors, like syntactical errors, or just like stuff I think that could be revised for better readability, would it be fine for us to like maybe like write like our own maybe block and then run it through you, Andy? And then if you read it and you think like it does indeed improve the readability, then maybe we could like put in an issue or like a pull request or something.
Yeah, you're welcome to do that through me. You're also welcome to, to interact with the development community at large. But yeah, I'm happy to review it with you before you go ahead and put it in. But I don't have to stand in between either. So it's entirely up to you. But I'm happy to proxy. But I think every one of you that's on this call that has pointed it out is 150% correct. There's just way too much documentation out there about about the installation, and it needs to be consolidated quickly. So open up as many issues as you possibly can regarding this. You'd really be helping us a lot. The one of the things about working in an open source community that may not be really apparent to some that are coming to it for the first time is a lot of the stuff that we're talking about sounds really remedial and menial and just trivial. And so to use as many words as I can that end in IAL. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is that most people assume that these types of things should be very straightforward, and it's very hard for people that are very deep in the muck of developing things to take a step back and look at things holistically, like you're looking at from the first point from your point of view is coming in and just wanting to get something done. Um, and so they really, while they might be very good at developing the code, they're very poor at summarizing what it is it needs to look like from a user's point of view. And so that's where we really need help. And so you're doing that work for us this summer. So if I saw 50 issues in the next 2 weeks, I think I would be really proud of the work that you've done. I'm talking about those types of numbers. That increase would really be helpful for us. So, short answer to your question is yes, I'd be happy to help you and proxy that.
Sounds great.
Andy, I want to underscore what you're saying. This is part of what I do on the team is trying to untangle what the developers are writing. And I had it much cleaner and they decided it was too dumb or too much detail in places where they already knew everything. So
Yeah.
please open the issues. You can also reach out to me because this pounding on them about the website is part of what I'm doing. So I'm listed as a contributor. So you can also reach out to me if you have comments or questions and you want a proxy to present it to the developers.
Thank you, Kevin. That's very helpful and constructive. I really appreciate you helping these folks out. Yeah, it's unfortunately is a major dilemma for us, and it's one that we haven't been able to overcome. But I'm hopeful in the next couple weeks we can do that with your help. Okay, anybody else from the program? All right, let's move on with the agenda. All right, would anybody else, so before I move on, does anybody else from the program want to say anything more? We can, if not, we can move on from here. Okay, so let's see, next up is new blog posts. I know that Ash has a new blog post out there. Ash, would you like to talk a little bit about what you posted?
Yeah, it was a pretty simple, quick guide to aliasing in PowerShell and in WSL. So that's creation, making them permanent, deleting and importing, exporting aliases. So I initially used both PowerShell and WSL. That's why I made two. But yeah, I'm working on new ones related to KubeStellar.
All right, so let's all get together here. I'm putting it in the chat. So if you're on the call, if you wouldn't mind, please go into the chat and click on the link, and let's clap bomb Ash.
Thank you.
So let's see if we can increase the number of claps here. Let's see who's gonna be next. People still getting to it? All right. We'll check back on that in just a minute, see if everybody's got it. Okay, thank you, Ash. Anybody else on the call that has any new or recent blogs that they would like to publicize here? Okay, anyone that has anything upcoming that they're working on that they would like to publicize here? Okay, I know each of you have some that are coming, so I'm not going to spoil it. We'll wait for next time. Okay, next up, Kube Day Japan. We have a CFP submission for Pipe CD and KubeStellar. It was not accepted. There's some ongoing discussions about possibility of being a co-sharing booth, a booth presence at Kube Day Japan. We'll see if that pans out. OSS in Austria, CFP that I put in on Argo workflows and working in multi-cluster mode with KubeStellar was not accepted. So I won't be going to Austria this year. Shucks. Okay. Update on KCD. There's a few more days left. I think there's about a good 15 more days left before we hear any more about whether or not my presentation on blue, green, and canary deployments will be accepted. And KubeCon North America, if you haven't done so already, please reserve your hotel. And also you can get early bird pricing for attendance. If you are a student, please know that there are deep discounts for attending KubeCon in the North America and in EU, and probably all the other affiliate programs or conferences. I know that for folks that are working in enterprises like myself, we pay on the order of $1,100-$1,200, sometimes even as much as $1,700 for entrance to KubeCon for both the main conference, which happens towards the latter end of the week, and the pre-conference material, which is usually the Monday and Tuesday prior to the main conference. But for students and for teachers, faculty, it's, I think, anywhere from $100 to $200 for the ticket. That's incredible. So if you can get to Salt Lake City, Utah, and you can and you want to be part of the show, I encourage you to reserve a hotel room and go buy your ticket and get out there. And if you're going to be there, let me know. I just applied for a lightning talk for KubeStellar. It's a 5-minute lightning talk. It's something they do during the first day of the conference. Also applied for Project Pavilion. We did this last year. This is where we got a lot of traction at the booth. It should be pretty cool to attend there, I hope. And there's also an area near the Project Pavilion that'll have tech discussions like stand-up tables. So there's a gentleman by the name of Donnie Rose that works here that is interested in doing biz development, and so he'll be happy if we get some of that space. We also have quite a handful. I don't even know how many there are now. So we have a panel for the interns for open source. I've asked Ash to join us there in Utah, and so it'll be myself, Corey, Ian, and Jeff. I don't think Ian's going this year, so I'm gonna cross him off there. But looks like we have a 4-person panel for both the program in the regular KubeCon sessions and in the Cloud Native Education session. If any of you of the other members of the IFOS program would like to be part of this panel, you're not excluded from it. You're more than welcome to come on board. I just had to put names in here for the initial CFP. So there was no time to really go around and ask 100 people to contribute to this. So once they've once they've approved this CFP, then we can add as many people on here as we'd like. So if you want to be in Utah, you want to come stand on stage with us and tell everybody about the work that you've done with the IFOS program, and if this talk is accepted in either the pre-conference or in the regular conference, we'd love to have you there. So talk to DM me, I guess, if you're interested, if the talk gets accepted. All right. Integration with KFP. I know Paulo worked on the CFP for that. He's also submitted that for AI Day, which is pre-con. And KubeFlex is also another one that Paulo's inserted. Q and KubeStellar, Yarrick and Dave Grove from IBM are gonna try and give a talk on that. KubeVert and KubeStellar, Ezra is from our development team is gonna try and give a talk on that. I put in for the Blue Green Canary deployments again here at KubeCon. Trying for a poster session on digital agriculture, a talk on digital agriculture, and something on scalability testing from Braulio, and integration with Pipe CD. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 CFP submissions. That's incredible. So the pre-conference deadline is passed. I think we're all set there. And that about does it for us. So this is just a recap, rehash. So KubeStellar working on that with the core Helm chart and instructions. Combined status is user-facing instructions and scripting. I think that's going to be relegated to blogging at this point. So it'll be less so on the site. The redesign of the site, as Kevin alluded to, performance testing that's being worked on, and updating to a more recent release of Kubernetes. All right. So that about does it for the main content that I have for the call. We have 20 minutes left. I can yield that back to all of you, or if you have any questions or comments and would like to talk a bit more, we can open the floor up for open discussion at this point. Okay. All right. Any no one going once, going twice, 3 times? Okay, everybody. Thanks everybody for joining this week. I'll have this posted to YouTube when the recording is ready for me to share. I appreciate you all joining us. Stay cool out there. It's hot this time of year in North America, and I hope to see you all again in 2 weeks. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you.